Well, it's been a very long and treacherous journey for sports in this country and for hockey in particular. This is one of the games that have made impact in this country in the 70s and the 80s. But gradually, football took over government interest completely away from major sports. And successive civilian administration from 1999 to date at the state level have not sufficiently give other sports any chance of growing. In the 70s and 80s, as you rightly put, even in the early 90s, we were one of the elites of the game in Africa. But you know, this is a game that keeps on changing, keep on revolving, and that it is a game now that is fully played in all the 6 continents of the world. Before, you won't hear of Korea, Argentina, Venezuela, Brazil playing hockey. But today, Argentina, Korea are one of the best hockey playing nations, apart from the traditional hockey teams of Germany, Australia, Netherlands, England, Pakistan, India. So what it means is that the pattern has changed, the dynamics have changed. A lot of people have around the globe have shown what hockey is, and it has made tremendous impact in countries. Even in Africa now, you hardly hitherto add or hear countries like Senegal, Sierra Leone, Gambia, Mali playing. Today, they're in the African League. But in Nigeria, it's a different story because we are people who have not been guided by any sense of history. More often than not, our concentration of football has actually made football to also nosedive. Okay. Government is paying almost 99% attention to football. Private concerns have been paying have been also giving football endorsements and sponsorship. But what is the history of football now in this country? We are about the 17th place, from first to 17th place. And everything is going down the line. There is no articulate government sporting policy. And that has to do with the kind of position government takes sports to be. More often than not, you find sports ministers at various successive governments just being appointed because to fill in the space. Ministers of sports are to fill in the space, irrespective of whether they have any concrete sporting knowledge. Sports is a passion.
That is one.
It is a passion. Even if you appoint a professor of physical education, and that passion is not there, sports will not take you anywhere. You need to be a sportsman to feel the pains of losing and then the glory of winning. And whereby an administrator feels that sport is just like any other endeavor. You don't have pains whether you lose or not. It's a government thing, and that is why we are where we are today. People who are not committed are in the saddle of driving sports. The civil servants, the bureaucrats have shown complete lack of interest in football. They just see it as just a salary job, and therefore whether they do it right or they do it wrong, at the end of the day they collect their salaries. And therefore things like hockey, it's a little bit an expensive game that you need to have, every player has to have a boot, he has to have a stick, and so on and so forth. Unlike football, where you just need one football to be able to be played around. And now why? Now we are in a third world country where government commitment needs to come first. It is absent in hockey completely, and in many other sports. Gone are the days when you hear of volleyball, handball, and so on and so forth, that are making some tremendous impact in Africa. Today, the only other sport that you hear apart from football is virtually basket. And basket, because the bulk of their sponsorship comes from the United States of America. So they put in this in. But Nigerian hockey, we have not been able to cultivate that kind of rapport with other hockey playing nations, but we are on the process of doing that. And that's why when you have a tournament like this one, this is a tournament that is actually being sponsored by members themselves. Nothing like government interest, nothing like government attention, nothing like government involvement is coming. And that is also the history of, and that is why in the previous first 3 years, or in the previous 5 years or 10, we have never gone out as a nation to participate in African meet. So this is a sport that is also ranked. It is when you go and do well in Africa that you are now being able to go out and being exposed. Anytime that there is a intercontinental competition, only 2 teams, to some large extent 3, represent Africa: South Africa, Egypt, and Kenya. Why? Because they are always, every time, in an African international competition where they win, and when they win, they represent Africa. Nigeria, we've never had, but we're in the process of building. When you see these boys and you go to international competition, you will see what we just don't have is the exposure. Yes. We have the skills, there is this determination. What we have seen in South Africa is actually the foundation that was laid for Niger State became third in another international African meeting in Zambia. So this is the kind of thing we do. Now, largely, I'm not worried about happening in hockey now, because all we need to do is to communicate with ex-hockey players who thought this game is dying, but who, because of you media, you have been telling people that this game is not dead, and this Super League attests to the fact that this game is well and alive. So the media has a huge responsibility on its head. Ex-hockey players have a huge responsibility to be able to take the games to the people. It is when people come towards the game and appreciate the game, that is why you have this endorsement and sponsorship. And that is our resolve, and that is the target, that is the roadmap. It is not going to be easy, because government is not assisting us into participating into international competition. It's not going to be easy. Companies are not Father Christmas. They want where they endorse you. Only they want you to also reflect on their vision. Yeah. So you need to have that kind of interface with multinationals, with private companies, to be able to understand this. We have a long way to go. We have started building, but the fact that government is not showing interest at all will not dampen our enthusiasm of this game. We will continue to move on. We will continue to be challenged. We are challenging ourselves, irrespective of whether government show interest or not, to take off these youth out of the streets, to kind of give them a sense of belonging. At a particular age of a man's development, there comes a time when he has a lot of energy in him. Like at the age of 17 to 25, 28, you have a lot of energy in you that needs to be tapped. if it doesn't tapped, if it is not tapped, that's why you see youth resorting to crimes and criminality. So what we do here is a social service to the nation, but fundamentally is a service to the government. But a lot of them are not seeing that way. We were off the street when we were growing, and that's why we became what we are today: credible, serious, patriotic Nigerians. And this, of course, this is what we need. Let's use to also grow and become what we are. If we hands down everything, then certainly we are doing a disservice to ourselves, because we benefited from this arrangement I'm telling you. So also now that we have an opportunity, we should also give it back to this youth. And that's why you see, in spite of every frustration that the sports ministry is giving us, we remain undaunted in making sure that we must add value and make a difference. The sky is the limit, and we believe, and always remember, when you see these young men, when they talk to us with respect, they talk to us with expectation, they talk to us with hope that we will make their life better. And that is what is driving us. Otherwise, you just hands over and continue with their businesses. But we are not going to do that.